Welcome to ASEAN BIZ, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. We are your hosts, Andrew Chia
and Eric Chong,
and we bring you business news on everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries.
In these brand new editions, we bring you 4 segments: the current business updates, our durian main story, funny business moments, and health is wealth. Let us start off with our current business updates, and our focus today is on the global stock market crash, which happened just recently.
The Dow Jones fell more than 1,000 points over just a few days. One day it was 530 points down, and the next day it was down 660 points, Eric.
Yeah, so what were the reasons?
It seems that there are a few reasons. South Korea and North Korea are about to fight each other, it seems.
There's actually some physical activities been going on over that part of the country, and it seems that some of them are starting to shoot missiles and throwing bombs already.
Right, yeah. Besides, that's the main reason. Concerns over China's economy and the recent stock market crash is also getting a lot of people very worried, especially over in the US.
And from the picture shown, we can see a lot of people like almost going to die or going to commit suicide during the crash.
Yeah, 1,000-point crash is not a joke.
Yes, and can you imagine if our KLSE dropped 1,000 points?
We can't do that because we have only about 1,000 points. Yeah. Please.
Then you have balance.
Let's talk about some percentages. Let's say the Dow Jones drop about 2% a day overnight. Is quite substantial. Anything more than 2% is cause for worry or concern.
Yes, and anything more than that, they will call for the so-called temporary shutdown of the market. Yeah,
so it dropped like 5% over a single day, and that's something like very serious, right?
Yes, and we all knows that the Dow Jones Index comes up to about 5 figures.
Yeah, it's about 17,000 points. And nobody thought that it would break the 16,000 point barrier.
Yes.
But right now it's 15,000 plus.
Yeah, 15,000 plus. If talk about a percentage, a 2 or 3% drops is quite substantial.
Now it's dropped much more than that. And correspondingly, all the other markets all over the world went deep into the red.
And we have seen the oil prices have crashed to a certain extent. It even touches $39 per barrel.
Right, yeah.
Yes, and
it has broken the $40 barrier.
Yes, which was earlier speculated by the OPEC that they will bring it down to $40.
Or even 35.
So
they're right on track.
They are right on track.
So that spells bad news for Malaysia, which is an oil-producing country.
Yes, and in fact, across the board, quite a number of commodities prices also dropped. We have seen gold prices drop.
Gold has been dropping for quite some time.
Yes,
but recently it's not dropping.
It's just risen back a bit only, but it's still dropping. It's not as good as those days where you touches about 1,007.
It went up as high as 1,009.
1,007, 1,009. Now it's almost like 1,000, 1,001 plus.
Yeah, 1,100.
So it's quite substantial drop against last year. So those who are keeping gold can see their so-called value start to depreciating. Right? And then we have seen the stock market all over the world also went deep into the root.
China went down also because China has already crashed earlier.
Yes, and recently they have a multiple crash. Right? They crash once and then they crash another time.
Yeah. So the US is saying that China is giving them problems. It's because of China that they sort of crashed. But people are worried about the Fed increasing interest rate, right?
Yes. And okay, Andrew, maybe you can give us some viewpoints. With all these crashes, how does it affect the common markets or the commoners?
Over here, all this volatility is making business very worried, and the sentiment is no good. And on top of that, the currency also fluctuates a lot. Yes. And now ringgit has gone more than 4.30 to the US dollar, which is very, very low.
Very, very low. And the volatility of the market actually gives a lot of investors some fear of continue investing in certain stocks or even in the forex trades.
Yeah. So we advise businesses to stay calm and focus on providing value to customers. We have said this before. Don't speculate on the currency market or even the stock market. Just focus on doing your business well.
And of course, people have felt always the temptation is always there. You know, they always have the so-called being positive in the market, even though with a volatile market. When the certain stocks drops, they also feels that it can either goes down some more or it goes up or rebounds back. So
it's not wise to speculate.
So they will speculate. Oh, if it goes down, I better go and
buy some more.
Buy some more, so that
cost averaging.
I average out the cost.
It's not really a good strategy, isn't it?
And those who place on the margin, if the stocks start to drop, they will keep on going shorting the stocks, and hopefully it goes down again. But it might not happen in that way.
Yeah, just like recently there was we are talking about the crash in the US. It gone down more than 1,000 points, and just when everybody thought it will go down all the way, suddenly it shot up back.
Yes, and
simply because due to some announcement by the Fed, and North and South Korea suddenly shake hands and decided to be
not
friends again, So this kind of things just cause the market to be very jittery and react in a very difficult way to predict.
So even for so-called stock analysis or the market analysis or market experts,
all the charts show that the trend should be going down.
Yeah,
and then suddenly it reverses.
Those who actually trades on technical will actually be caught with all this news and so-called speculative market or the volatile market.
So then again, we say that when the dollar was about say 350 to the ringgit, we advise friends and businessmen not to speculate because a lot of people were saying it's very high already.
Yes.
So it should be going down. And some people are sending kids overseas to study and they keep asking us, should I buy foreign money and keep it? And we said, please buy and keep it. Don't speculate.
Don't speculate.
But most people don't listen to us anyway. They just ask. So then the ringgit went up to 4 to the dollar. And they start regretting we should have taken their advice. So we keep saying the same advice. Please don't speculate. It's very difficult for us to predict. Even experts cannot predict correctly whether it's going up or down. So if you need to use a forex for your business or for your personal use, please go ahead and buy it and keep it away. And don't think about it.
So actually, the temptation, as I said earlier, is always there for people to make a fast buck. So when the US dollars in those days at 350, everybody will felt that okay, it's time for me to buy in some. So for those who have bought it, probably they make some money, but on the flip side, they have already lost out on the purchasing power.
Yeah, we were having a little discussion about ASEAN. Countries in ASEAN like Malaysia, we are actually the small boys. The big boys are the US and China. And when the big boys fight, we are caught in the middle.
We are always in the line of fire.
Yeah.
Even though it's in terms of political situations, financial situations, or even economic situations, we are always in the line of fire because we are just small boys. And whatever interventions is too insignificant to actually move the market.
Yeah, and these two big boys, because of the nature of their countries, they are bound to fight. China is the biggest population, a country with the biggest population of about 1.4 billion. They have a huge domestic market. They save a lot of money, very big percentage of money saved. And then they owe very little money, only 20% of their GDP. And
looking at China, I would say that China is quite a self-contained country. Most of the things they have their own resources, they have their own domestic market, So it can be a very self-sustainable market.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of Americans are putting the blame on China. You ask Donald Trump, he's running for president. He says the whole world's problem is because of China. China is not buying anything and they're selling everything.
Well,
so this caused a lot of problems for the US.
it's just that China, or rather in China, in historical time, China have been always, rather Chinese have been always a so-called very spendthrift community. They don't simply spend like the Americans.
You mean they save a lot of money,
They
right?
save a lot of money. They know what is so-called savings for the rainy days.
Yes, they've gone through bad times.
They've gone through bad times and
famine,
good times,
wars,
and
corrupt officials, a lot of
natural
suffering,
disaster, a lot of suffering.
Ancient China.
So, unlike the Americans, they are more pampered in a way.
Yeah, so they spend more.
They spend more.
They save less or
They save
almost
less.
0% of savings.
And they can get loans easily.
Yeah, they have a very high level of debt, more than 100% of their GDP. And of course, they say the whole world's problem started with China doing exactly the opposite of what they have been doing all along.
If the buying stops, then the production will stop.
Yeah, so it's kind of a vicious cycle.
So when there is a continuous demand for goods, there will be a continuous supply of goods.
Yeah, and it's quite difficult to predict what is going to happen next. A lot of financial experts are saying that the US situation fiscally is not sustainable. They owe too much money. They have Medicare problems. They have social security problems. And as time goes by, their money will depreciate because of too much printing of money. QE1 and now it's almost QE4 already.
Yes, but whether you like it or not, as we said earlier in our few episodes, I would say all the world commodities are priced in US dollars.
Right. That's why some people say that US can continue printing money and it will still have value. You just look at their forex today.
Yes. And to a certain extent, as long as there's demand for raw materials, there are demands for commodities, the pricings will still sticks to US dollars.
Yeah.
And there's still demand for US dollars.
And a lot of people are expecting US to export its way out of recession. And that means they should have a lower USD rate in order to stimulate their exports. But they are doing something like the opposite.
They are
and still their
importing
rate
more.
is very high.
Yes, because they always demand for their dollar, for their money worldwide. And as we said earlier, because the commodities are always priced in US dollars, that's the whole thing. You know?
So this makes it quite difficult to predict.
And in a global trade, even non-related to US, they also trade in US dollars. You don't see countries trading in a Malaysia ringgit.
Don't talk about Malaysia ringgit, please. It's too insignificant. Let's talk about probably renminbi. You know, there are a lot of countries in Asia that are slowly shifting their trades to renminbi and other Asian currencies, including the yen.
Well, in this situation, I would say that it's just individual trades, private trades, because renminbi and the yuan is still not an openly trading currency. So it's not so-called world currency yet.
Okay.
It's just individual trades, individual contracts, where they do the trades on an individual basis on what currency they want.
Right.
So, and in these situations, even the individual trades also, they can put a fixed rates to their currency of tradings. So it's up to the individual.
So coming back to our stock market crash in the US and even in China, our advice to Asian business or ASEAN people doing business in ASEAN is still the same. Focus on your business.
Focus on your business.
Focus on the value.
Yes.
And then don't speculate on the stocks and the currency. And you'll do fine.
Yes. Just do what you have been doing and keep on improving and you will be fine. And whatever so-called currency fluctuations, market volatility might or might not affect you that much.
Yeah, but we have got to be prepared for it. For example, if you import a lot of raw materials, the forex is going to affect you badly, whether you like it or not.
Yes, but also you have to watch out on your market demand, the products that you are providing or the services that you are providing, whether the demand is diminishing.
Right.
You know, if you have a a business that have a diminishing demand, then that's the time you have to be innovative about your products.
Or maybe switch to a new product with new technology.
Well, I would say it's up to each individual how they look at their business and how they're going to change along the line, right? So we will take a short break now, and we will be back with our main story for today. Stay tuned, guys. Don't go away.
Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN Biz, and our Durian main story today is the top 5. That's not the story. The best investment tips for 2015. Yeah, guys, best investment tips for 2015. But before we bring you our main story, Eric is going to share with you his funny business moment. And the title of his story today is Hot as Hell.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. We will be waiting for your stories afterwards on your main stories. But before that, let's start with a little bit of lighter notes. Right. Okay, this thing goes like this. A man who had just got married was flying to the Floridas for a business trip. His new bride was to accompany him the next day. When he got there, he emailed his wife to let her know he make it there safely. When he sent the email, he misspelled the address. It went to another town to a grieving widow whose husband has recently passed away, and she received the email. She reads it, screams and faints. Hearing her grandmother cries, the widow's 18-year-old granddaughters run into the living room to see the computer with his message. It reads, "Dear love, just got here. Preparing for your arrival tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. Love. Sure it's hot down here." Okay, so for those who send emails or send messages, please bear in mind you type in the correct address.
Yeah, don't give people a fright.
And in this kind of situation,
lady, she's quite old already, and of course she is also on the way to meet her husband, but she didn't expect it to be so soon. Because her husband just passed away yesterday, and he's saying, "Come join me, Halama."
And she didn't expect an email from hell.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric, for that funny business moment. Welcome back to the show. You are listening to ASEAN Biz, your only choice for business updates covering ASEAN countries. I'm your host, Andrew Chia, and together with me is Eric Chong. And we bring you news from everything that happens around the world that involves ASEAN countries.
The title of our Durian main story today is Best Investment Tips 2015, Part 1. This story is brought to you by courtesy of SAMFIS, the Center for Financial Intelligence Studies, based in London. First of all, we would like to categorize investment into 3 categories: properties, stocks, and businesses.
Right. Properties is the most popular investment in the world.
Totally agree.
Most people like to invest in properties.
We have seen that most tycoons around the world are property related.
For many reasons, I believe people like to invest in properties. One of the reasons is that the other investments like stocks or businesses is a little bit complicated. Stocks, you need to understand a lot of technical terms, right?
Whether that one is a performing stocks or the stocks on the market are just for the purpose of trading the stocks.
Yeah, it looks a bit abstract for the man on the street.
Yes, for that particular company, are they seriously doing business?
Yeah, so a lot of things to look into. Yes. Not very transparent. Whereas a piece of property, you can see it and touch it with the hands.
You see it, the title is there, the title with your name on it, that's yours. Nothing to it.
We wouldn't want to go into all the reasons and advantages why people invest in properties. But we just share with you one of the reasons is that properties can maintain its value in the long term.
Yes.
And it's a good hedge against inflation.
So today, in the first part of the story, we brings you tips on property investment in ASEAN, particularly in Malaysia for 2015. We will divide tips on properties into 3 questions: what to buy, at what price to buy, and managing your properties portfolio. But first of all, what is real estate, Andrew?
Yes, real estate is properties. Does that
that's
give you any confidence?
That's a very direct answer. But can we delve into
why
more
people call it
called
real
real
estate
estate?
instead of properties? And we don't call, sometimes we call people real estate negotiators instead of the simple term property agents.
Yes.
You know, the real estate sounds like it's very grand,
Professional.
you know, it's glamorous, real estate, you know, as compared to unreal estate or virtual estate.
Which means the estate that they sell to you is real. It's not virtual. It's not in cyberspace.
Well,
or somewhere
Eric,
else.
actually, that is not the reason. You see, the word real is not an English word. It's more of a Latin or Spanish word.
Well, maybe
Have
Andrew
you
can
heard of
enlighten us.
a football club called Real Madrid?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we are more familiar with Barcelona.
Yeah. So
But Real Madrid is a Royal Madrid. Okay, it's a Royal Football Club.
Along the way, a lot of people might think that, they are really from Madrid.
Yeah, as if it's unreal.
At least there is another version of Unreal Madrid.
So what it actually means that real estate actually belongs to the royals, or rather the government or the king.
So
Every piece of land.
So we have a rundown like it's those colonial days where the landowners are royalties.
Right.
So in this sense, they don't want to put it as a royalty or royal estates. So to sound it more common, they put it as real estates. Am I
Which
right?
actually means royal estate.
It actually means royal estate.
So some people say that my piece of royalty is a freehold property. So it actually belongs to me.
but
okay.
in actual sense, it still belongs to the royals.
Right, yeah. And one way to test it, to know whether your real estate property or your freehold property actually belongs to you or someone else, is to try this. Don't pay the quit rent for many years.
And you can see that your property become unreal.
Someone will come and seize your property and you can't tell him, look, it's a freehold property, it belongs to me.
Yeah, so it becomes no hold. And for those person who actually sells land or sells property or subsells their own property, especially those on leasehold, they actually need some approval before they can transfer the titles to the new owner, where the approvals comes from the palaces. Am I true? Am I correct?
Yeah, it's a state government.
It's the state government, so in a way it's
palace.
coming from the palaces, right? So in a sense, all estate that you own belongs to the royals.
Yeah, so in many countries we have properties that are divided into freehold or what they call it,
Leasehold.
leasehold. Leasehold will have things like 99 years, 60 years or 30 years, not only in Malaysia, but in other countries in ASEAN as well as other parts of the world.
I think most countries would not have a so-called freehold land.
Yes. You talk about China, almost all the land is only 40 years.
40 years,
especially the
60 years.
residential land.
And Andrew, I did come across some land in the East Malaysia where
Right.
they claim it as leasehold. But can you make a guess how long is the lease?
999 years.
Yes.
As good as
As
freehold.
good as freehold. Can you imagine you got a leasehold land at 999 years? Okay.
Right, yeah. But you have to be a native there in order to transact for some land, you know. Some is okay. Other people can buy it. Even in America or Canada, I understand that foreigners can only own the land for like 40 years.
Yes, to a certain extent, because even like those developed countries, they also don't have such things like freehold or these kind of things where you can hold on to it for 999 years.
Yeah, guys. So you see, just talking about just one aspect of the land is a lot of information involved, and you need to know what are the differences between freehold and leasehold, what are the advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah.
Just like you buy a thing like a notebook or a PC, something that costs you like maybe $1,000 or $2,000,
Yes.
and you need to know so many things about it.
Right.
So much more a piece of land, isn't
yes, and a piece of land. So like today we are not going to differentiate the technicalities of leasehold, freehold. We're going to delve onto what to buy. So Andrew, maybe you can advise our listeners on what to buy.
Yeah, so first of all, you need to know about that product. For example, a piece of property. Let's compare it with a computer, a piece of computer or PC. When you buy a PC, Eric, I'm sure you buy PCs or notebooks quite often.
Yes, because
You need to know a lot of things, right?
because like PC, when the moment is on the market, it's become obsolete.
Yeah. So most people, when they at the sales counter, the salesperson will ask you what kind of processor you want, what brand you want, and say how much RAM you need. What is your preference for your motherboard,
Oh.
and how much hard drive capacity do you need, and which is your preferred brand.
And even today's they will delve a deeper, much more deeper. They will ask you what's the purpose you wants your PC to be.
Yeah, are you doing graphics, or are you just using it for a spreadsheet?
And,
that will make a lot of difference.
And are you just solely using it for gaming?
Right,
So-
yeah. Then you need a bigger screen, a powerful screen. How many inches?
Yeah, so the products of so-called the specifications of computers are getting more and more categorized in a sense.
Right, and all in all, you're only paying 1,000 or 2,000 ringgit for it.
And what more
you need to know so many things.
And what more? A piece of property. You need to
which
know
costs
more.
you hundreds of thousands or even millions.
Yes,
And surprisingly, most people don't ask questions.
they don't know what to ask. Frankly
right.
speaking, they don't know what to ask. And with a lot of developers, they are splashing so much of goodies and welcoming parties or launching parties where you can have a satay.
Yeah.
Then
So
you
that you
roast
just
lamb.
forget about asking.
You just go there and makan and eat. And last weekend, my wife and myself actually have a good day at one of the launching of
Condominiums
project. And you can see the buffet spread is fantastic. You have satay, you have oyster, you have roast lamb, everything. And
All these are calculated to prevent you from asking the relevant questions.
Yes.
So that you only ask the price.
You can just ask the price and where to sign. That's all.
That is very dangerous, guys. So before you decide what to buy, you need to know all your choices. Let's go through them one by one. There are a few items on the list. Starting off with what's the status of the land, which we have just discussed, including whether it's a boomi or non-boomi piece of land. Over in Malaysia, there's a difference. In
Yes.
other countries in ASEAN, I believe there's no such difference.
No such difference.
Okay. The next thing is what's the usage of that land? For example, whether it's agricultural or residential land, commercial, industrial, or mixed development, or some land can be used only for resort purposes, some for religious purposes, some land is only categorized for mining,
Yes.
and different zoning of the land. Even, for example, agriculture, it can be divided into whether it's for oil palm, rubber, or it's a durian orchard.
Right, and there are certain so-called unscrupulous developer that actually build residentials on top of agricultural land
Right.
without doing any conversions.
Yeah, there's a law that says that for every 1 acre of agricultural land, you are permitted to build a bungalow on it without any approval. But that's all.
That's
You
all.
cannot build so many houses on a piece of agricultural
Yes, and
land.
I believe that this happens quite a number of housing projects actually happens in these kind of situations where the developer have not paid the premium for the conversions.
Right, that's something serious. And
Then
that's
something
not
serious.
supposed to build.
And they are not supposed to build, but they build it, they sold it, and people stay on it for more than 20 years without getting CF, without getting the land converted.
Oh, that sounds serious, right?
Oh, okay. So this actually happens. And
Illegal.
And actually the buyer cannot do anything about it. They can't do anything about it because to get the land converted, all the buyer have to grow out the money and pay the premium on behalf of the developer. And the developer already
has run
ran off
away.
already.
Okay, great. So that's the usage of the land. Then we talk about things like the types of houses. Houses being one of the most popular property investments, besides, say, shops or factories. Okay. So for houses, we have different types of houses over here in Malaysia, as well as some other countries. We have the apartment, right?
Yes, and apartments now they comes up to different categories of apartments as well.
Such as?
They have a so-called service apartments. They fall under different categories.
Yeah, under commercial.
Yes, there are commercial apartments. They have
Properties.
residential apartments,
Then
Also,
you have low-end, medium-end, and high-cost apartments.
High-cost apartments. You know, but when you put on high cost, they don't call it apartment anymore. You call it condominium to be more prestige. No doubt it's the same thing.
Actually, it's the usage of the word. In certain countries, apartments are more high class than condominiums.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe in New York they call apartments
Right,
high
yeah,
end.
and millions of dollars in USD.
Yes. So in for Malaysians, they say, you pay so much for an apartment in New York. Okay. So different countries will have different usage of terminologies.
Right. For example, besides apartment, we have terrace houses. Terrace houses are also called link houses.
Link houses, or in London they call it flats.
Terrace houses are called flats
Yes,
in London.
In London.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have a semi-D house, which is semi-detached houses. And
we have bungalows.
detached houses are called bungalows in Malaysia.
In Malaysia. And
What other types of houses do
we
you
have?
have?
Townhouses.
Townhouses. Okay, that's something quite innovative.
Quite innovative.
Where you have, say, two houses on top of each other, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
we have also shop houses. During the 80s, it's
Shop
very popular.
apartments. The downstairs is a shop.
Downstairs
and the
is a shop,
upstairs are
upstairs is
residential units.
I think during the late 80s and the early 90s, this kind of concept is very popular. Right.
Right. So guys, these are the things you need to know. What different types of houses and the characteristics. And of course, why you need to know is that there will be a difference in strategies for investment. Some houses will give you very good returns.
In terms of capital appreciations.
And some will give you more returns in terms of
ROI,
rental. Okay, so you need to know which type of houses will give you more appreciation and which type of houses will give you more what they call ROI. A lot of people mix them up, and then after they have bought, they tell us, "Oh, it's a lousy investment. I didn't get that capital appreciation that I expected."
Yes, and actual fact is a lot of so-called prospective buyer that went in with the mentality that they can make money from capital appreciation, they can make money from rental, and
Yeah, of
on
course
top
it's
of that,
possible.
and on top of that, they can hold on forever, and they would like to stay in it as well. Right? So it's quite difficult. I mean, if you choose a properties, you choose for your own purpose. What is it that you want to derive? What's
Yes,
the
these
top
are all the
priority
things
you
you
want
need
to
to know.
derive from it?
Right. And then besides that, where to buy? You can say you can buy in cities. There are some places that are called towns or even rural areas.
Yeah.
These will all give you different returns.
And if you're in bigger countries, like let's say you are in China, okay, within the cities they have township as well. So
Yeah,
those are pretty big cities, and I don't think you can see that in Malaysia. No? When we talk about cities, we can only heard of it as Kuala Lumpur, Penang, or Johor Bahru.
Right.
Those are cities, and you don't have a town inside the cities. Probably you have sections inside the cities. That's all.
And where to buy also influence your decision on whether you want to buy it for rental. For example, you want to buy a unit of house for rental. If the neighboring area you have a college or a hypermarket or something like that, it would be easier to rent out, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. And
Compared to a place where you have no amenities, no LRT stations, no bus stations, it would be more difficult.
I would say let's take examples of Kuala Lumpur. Most people would choose the strategic in terms of accessibility.
Right.
And those are nearer to colleges, and some even would like to choose nearer to factories, so they can rent it out to factory workers if they are going for rentals. But be prepared, if you rent it out to factory workers, that you could get back a very torn and tattered properties for their living.
Because a lot of factory workers are foreign workers, right?
Yes, that's true. You get renters, and probably throughout the 10 years of rental, all the rental you collected might not be sufficient for you to repair the house upon their leaving.
Oh, that sounds scary, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
It happens before.
So besides where to buy, the other very important thing that you need to know is that there are various strategies involved in property investment. For example, like we mentioned earlier, capital appreciation, ROI. There's a strategy called flipping, where you do like buy low, sell high. and another strategy called holding forever.
Holding forever.
Where
And
you don't sell even if somebody points a gun at your head.
yes, I would say that in Malaysia, probably the strategy of flipping will be a bit difficult to carry out.
Right. A lot of people don't understand the strategy. You can do flipping, but there must be certain conditions. For example, when the market is rising fast,
Yes.
and you can do flipping. But a lot of people try to do flipping when the market is coming down. That is almost same as committing suicide, isn't it?
Suicide, yes. So the
And
best
then they tell you the flipping strategy doesn't work.
work. So it's a matter of timing, and it's a matter of market demand in a sense. Right? So before you delve on to spending thousands or hundreds of thousands to buy a property, first you buy a book first. It's called Property Secrets.
Yes, we are going to recommend a few books to our listeners, especially if you are investing in Malaysian properties. The first book is, of course, produced by Senfis. The title of the book is called Property Secrets. It is not written by Andrew Chia. It is written by Dr. Peter Yee, our property research director.
And probably these books can really give you an eye-opener on how to delve into property
Yes, how to
investments.
choose your
Your properties. Right? So we will take a short break and be back with our stories shortly. So stay tuned, guys. Don't go away.
Right. Welcome back. You're listening to ASEAN BIZ, and our Durian main story today is Best Investment Tips 2015, Part 1. Before the break, we talked about how to choose a piece of property to buy. And now we are going to tell you how to pay the right price for it and how to maintain your property portfolio. But before that, let's take a short break to get a health tip from Eric Chong, our health and fitness expert. His health tip story for today is easy ways to start exercising.
Thanks, Andrew. You take a rest for a short while I go through this piece of information on how to start exercising. Because a lot of people wanted to start exercising, but they always choose the difficult part because of a lot of hearsay, and they overestimate their so-called physical fitness. So, just a little bit of information to how to get started in an exercising regime. Right? The easy way. You don't need to force yourself. Right?
Yeah, getting started is the most important part, right?
Yes. To build yourself into the habit is much more difficult. So to get started, you don't want to let yourself demotivated with too many of difficult things. Right? So making exercise a fun part of your everyday life. First, you got to make it to be fun. Exercise doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition. You don't have to spend hours in a gym or force yourself into monotonous or painful activities you hate to experience the physical and emotional benefits. Adding just a little physical activities to your weekly routine can have a profound effect on your mental and emotional health. Whatever your age or fitness level, even if you have never exercised a day in your life before, you can find simple, fun ways to add more movement into your life and start to feel better, look better, and enjoy life more. So, how much exercise do you need? Exercising moderately for 30 minutes, 5 times a week, is one of the best things you can do for your physical and mental health. Can't find 30 minutes in your busy schedule? That's okay. 2 15 minutes workout or 3 10 minutes workout can be just as effective. If that still seems like a daunting amount of time to spend exercising, don't despair. Even just a little physical activities is better than none at all. Try starting by taking a short walk on most days and gradually build up the length of your sessions from there. It takes about 4 weeks for an activity to become a habit, so commit to maintaining your schedule for at least that long. As exercising become habits, you can slowly add extra minutes or try different types of activities. If you keep it up, and the benefits you experience will be surmountable, will begin to mount on. So how hard do I need to exercise? There's a lot of questions. That's the main question that a lot of people are asking. Forget about the terms no pain, no gain. You don't need to be a physical fanatic or gym rat to reap the rewards of exercise. Research has shown that mild or moderate activities is enough to change your life for the better. Moderate activities means that you breathe a little heavier than normal, but are not out of breath. For example, you should be able to chat with your walking partner, but not easily sing a song. That your body feels warmer as you have moved, but not overheated or very sweaty. And then, do I need different type of exercises? While any kind of exercise offers tremendous health benefits, different types of exercise focus more on certain aspects of your health. Mixing up the different types of exercise can add varieties to your workouts and broaden the health benefits. Aerobic activities like running, cycling, and swimming strengthen your heart and increase your endurance. Strength training like weightlifting or resistance training builds muscle and bone mass, improve balance, and prevents falls. It's one of the best counters to old age. Flexibility exercises like stretching and yoga help prevent injury, enhance range of motion, reduce stiffness, and limit aches and pains. Exercise is good for your mind as is your body. Everyone knows that regular exercise is good for the body. It can help you to control your appetite, lose weight, shed inches, lower your risk for the varieties of serious diseases. But the benefits don't stop there. Exercise is as effective as antidepressant medication at relieving depressions and boosting your mood. It can also help you to relieve stress and anxiety, improve your self-esteem, sleep better, and cope with life challenges in a healthy and positive way.
Right. Thanks, Eric, for that health tip. Now let's continue with our Durian main story today. Best investment tips for the year 2015. We are talking about properties in this part 1 of the series.
Yes.
Because properties, like I mentioned, is the most popular form of investment. You don't need a certificate or a degree to do that.
And in fact, most investment tools, you need not have a degree.
Yeah. But you actually need a lot of knowledge.
You need a lot
and
to read up a lot
information
of books.
and skill to do that. Just now we recommended one book that is published by Sanfis titled Property Secrets, which you can buy in all leading bookstores in Malaysia.
Yes.
And also from where?
Online.
Online, yeah. Look for Peter Yee's website.
Peter Yee's website, you can buy online. And the Property Secrets will give you a lot of technical background.
Right. Besides Property Secrets, there are so many books on the shelves today written by some Malaysian authors.
And besides being very well versed with technicality, I think the next important issues is to how to control your state of mind, right? So how to be more money sense, and to have a more deeper knowledge of money sense, you can read out the books by Andrew. Okay, you can read up Andrew Chia's books called Money Secrets. Okay, this is a particularly good book for you
Sounds like a familiar book.
For you to actually condition your mind towards money.
Okay, let's talk about property books. Besides Property Secrets, there are also books by people like Milan Doshi,
yes,
Renisha Leong,
and for those our
Azizi
Ali for our Malay friends.
Who else writes property books?
I think we have quite
Ayat Ishak.
We have quite a few.
Yes.
Right, these are the more popular one, where you can actually grab it from the bookstore.
So it depends on who is your favorite author. Our recommendation is to read all of them.
Read all of them because different gurus will have different point of views.
Yeah, there's no harm getting more information.
So
it won't confuse you actually.
So the main gist of the thing is that you find the advisors that is more comfortable to you, or the entry level is more suitable for you.
So that will help you to choose the right property to buy, suiting your budget and your investment strategy. So after you have chosen your property and your strategy of investing, now you should decide what price you should buy, whether it's direct from the developer or from sub-sale or from the auction market.
And I would say that quite a number of people will prefer to buy direct from developer.
Yeah, you can get something like a 20-30% discount. In fact, for some people, they believe that buying from developer is the best investment strategy in the world.
True and not true, because when you buy from developer, there's a waiting period to realize your investment in 3 years. That's the minimum period of waiting period. And you can unrealize your investment or get locked up if the developer went bankrupt halfway through the projects.
That is one thing that some people have faced before.
Yes. And I believe that when you wanted to buy from a direct developer, do a background search on the developer first.
Right. Make sure he's a reputable developer with a good track record.
Yes, and certain developers tend to have their design to be impractical, and certain developers tend to have a more practical designs. So you do your homework, and there's no good or bad about it. It depends on whether you can afford their properties or not. That's all.
Yeah, it's a big temptation to buy at a cheaper price. Once the development is ready for sale, is usually about at least 20 or 30% more expensive. So a lot of people look at this and they straight away go and buy from the developer. But there are certain disadvantages from about buying from developers, like Eric mentioned just now. You buy from a lousy developer, he can run away. Besides that, there are some development after it is completed, the crowd doesn't seem to
comes in, and
it's not like very happening.
And the property is badly managed, badly upkeep. So in this sense, you will not have a so-called.
You find it hard to rent.
Hard to rent it out, and it's even harder for you to sell it off. That's the main issues.
So that is the disadvantage from buying from developer. So besides that, you can buy from sub-sale or auction market. Yes. But wherever you buy from, you must decide what is the price that you should buy.
And then for local investors, residential properties below 500,000, especially landed ones, would be advisable. Properties about, say, 500,000, including condominiums, may be due for corrections simply because it's not affordable for the average working Malaysians household. And also banks are very selective right now.
Yes. A lot of banks are very choosy about their customers. So people are finding it hard to get bank loans. So they can't actually buy expensive property, meaning things that are more than half a million is considered more expensive.
And I would say that recently you can hardly see any properties that cost below 500,000, especially landed one.
Yes.
Okay, anything landed will cost you easily close to $1 million.
So it's actually more expensive already. Because just a couple of years ago, you can easily get 300,000-400,000 ringgit landed properties.
Yes,
so within a short period of few years, prices have doubled. So you can imagine some correction is due already.
And these particular situations actually makes our youngsters very difficult to own a house.
Yes, and this situation in Malaysia can be extended to all the countries in ASEAN also, because at different points of time, whether it's Philippines or Myanmar or even Singapore, properties become very expensive.
Very expensive.
And then there will be periods when there will be correction and you can get properties at much cheaper price.
Well, it all depends on you buying it for what purpose. If you're buying it for capital gains, just be careful. If you're buying it just for residing by yourself, then it does not matter much.
Yes, especially if you need a house almost like immediately, you want to get married and the kid is on the way, you know.
Yes.
So you just got to buy a house. Don't worry about it, whether it's an expensive house, because either way, you are not going to sell it almost immediately, right?
Yes. So
if it appreciates,
it's fine.
You are not selling.
If it does not appreciate, also fine, because you are not selling it. And the most important for those who choose properties for staying, just choose one that is more convenient to you.
Right. For your center of activity, whether your husband or your wife works nearby, the in-laws are nearby to send your kids for them to take care, or whether the school is nearby. These are the important things that you should consider.
Yes.
A lot of people choose a beautiful house and then they find problems going to work. stuck in the jam, or sending the kids to
sending
school.
the kids to school. Andrew, you're telling me about that.
We all learn from mistakes,
We all
right?
learn from mistake. Okay. So we all like to have big houses. We all like to have beautiful houses. But these kind of houses are away from town.
Yeah, it's sometimes not very practical.
It's not practical in a sense.
You lose a lot of time traveling.
Sometimes it's quite tempting to stay in this kind of place. But after a while, you found that the cost of traveling is start to escalating. Then when children start to go to work, then you find a pinch.
Right, yeah. So the other tips we can offer our listeners is that to stay away from high-end condos for the time being, especially in Malaysia, because they have gone a bit too expensive. There are some condo projects, for example, in Mongkiara, high-end place. Launching price is about 1.5 million.
Yes.
And after a short while, it has gone to 3 million, which is double. And right now, it's back to 1.5 million.
1.5 million.
And there's difficulty selling at that price also, because it's really a bit expensive, overpriced.
Yes, because high-end condos always looks attractive. And what more with today's technology, the marketing materials are very well done. They have videos, they have animations of the whole properties that attracts you.
Right. Commercial and industrial properties are also on the high side. And agriculture demand is soft. So all palm estates, durian orchards may be available at good prices or bargain prices. For example, people tell us that fertilizers are priced in US dollars and they're getting so expensive that people cannot afford fertilizers for their oil palm estates, their durian orchards. So making these ventures not profitable, and owners are getting so disappointed. They close both eyes, they are disappointed. They just want to sell it off at a low price. So it's a good time to buy because this situation is temporary.
Yes, and bear in mind when you buy agriculture properties, the loan will not be that high.
Right.
So you should have a substantial cash on hand to actually goes into agriculture land. Right. Finally, let's talk about managing our properties portfolio. Well, Andrew, what advice can you give on managing
managing, for example, residential or commercial properties? You're basically talking about managing that property as well as managing your tenants. So for your tenants, you need to train them to pay their rental on time. For example, if their rental is due on the 1st of the month, don't be shy to call them on the 1st of the month. Condition them to pay on the 1st. You just tell them you got to pay sooner or later, right? When you pay on the 7th, you're paying on the 1st, you're also paying. Just get it away and you just collect the rental from them.
So treat yourself as a machine with a so-called mechanical clock.
Yeah, customers can be trained and after some time they pay you
Same thing like our bank who chases, right on the dot.
And also budget an amount to maintain your properties. Because wear and tear, the plumbing works get spoiled.
Yes, because after 5-10 years, all these things will come into the picture.
Right, yes. So you got to keep your properties in very nice condition. In case your tenant leaves, you have no difficulty in finding a new tenant. Especially for residential properties, the trend is that, or rather the rule is that you got to fix up all these plumbing and electrical problems for your tenants. Compared to commercial properties, the tenant will be fixing them for themselves.
Yes, because commercial properties, the tenant will need to renovate it to their usage.
Right.
And things will be affected.
So get yourself your team of handyman to fix up things for you, and get a team that comprise also professional property agents to select good tenants for you and maybe help you to collect rent or manage your tenants. So with that, your managing part of the property portfolio should go without any hitch.
Yes, don't do everything by yourself. Let people make some money. Right. We have seen landowner actually goes there to repair their properties themselves and getting themselves hurt or getting themselves dirty, which is not advisable. Right.
So let's come to our last tip. Our final tip for our listeners is
keep learning everything you can about property investment, especially new investor. For seasoned investor, be patient while waiting for fire sales. It will come down soon enough.
Okay. All right, folks. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed the show. We will be back with a brand new story for our Durian main story on ASEAN Biz in the next edition.
Bye for now.
Bye.